Emotions we felt, good and the bad, in the hands we've been dealt. I wanna know why, I wanna know why you're the way you are. He's from the city, she's from the south. Two different chapters told miles out. The back row living in his White House. So many stories that I need to know. Not every story's written on a sleeve. Some stories take digging deep. Eyes wide open, words unspoken. Where are you going, darling? Where have you been? Stories to tell, emotions we felt, good and the bad, in the hands we've been dealt. I wanna know why, I wanna know why you're the way you are. So many stories right in front of me. Some people climb to heights I've never seen. Too many falling down off their feet. These stories take digging deep. Eyes wide open, words unspoken. Where are you going, darling? Where have you been? Stories to tell, emotions we felt, good and the bad, in the hands we've been dealt. I wanna know why, I wanna know why you're the way you are. Why you're the way you are. Why you're the way you are. Tiptoe around with face of a stranger. Quiet observer, never get too close. I see the world, but it's through this window. Another side to see, I'm ready to know. Not every story's written on a sleeve. Some stories take digging deep. Eyes wide open, words unspoken. Where are you going, darling? Where have you been? Stories to tell, emotions we felt, good and the bad, in the hands we've been dealt. I wanna know why, I wanna know why you're the way you are. He's from the city, she's from the south. Two different chapters told miles out. The back row living in his White House. So many stories that I need to know. Not every story's written on a sleeve. Some stories take digging deep. Eyes wide open, words unspoken. Where are you going, darling? Where have you been? Stories to tell, emotions we felt, good and the bad, in the hands we've been dealt. I wanna know why, I wanna know why you're the way you are. So many stories right in front of me. Some people climb to heights I've never seen. Too many falling down off their feet. These stories take digging deep. Eyes wide open, words unspoken. Where are you going, darling? Where have you Tiptoe around with face of a stranger. Quiet observer, never get too close. I see the world, but it's through this window. Another side to see, I'm ready to know. Not every story's written on a sleeve. Some stories take digging deep. Eyes wide open, words unspoken. Where are you going, darling? Where have you been? Stories to tell, emotions we felt, good and the bad in the hands we've been dealt. I wanna know why, I wanna know why you're the way you are. He's from the city, she's from the south. Two different chapters told miles out. The back row living in his White House. So many stories that I need to know. Not every story's written on a sleeve. Some stories take digging deep. Eyes wide open, words unspoken. Where are you going, darling? Where have you been? Stories to tell, emotions we felt, good and the bad in the hands we've been dealt. I wanna know why, I wanna know why you're the way you are. So many stories right in front of me. Some people climb to heights I've never seen. Too many falling down off their feet. These stories take digging deep. Eyes wide open, words unspoken. Where are you going, darling? Where have you been? Stories to tell, emotions we felt, good and the bad in the hands we've been dealt. I wanna know why, I wanna know why you're the way you are. Why you're the way you are. Why you're the way you are. Tiptoe around with face of a stranger. Quiet observer, never get too close. Through this window, another side to see, I'm ready to know. Not every story's written on a sleeve. Some stories take digging deep. Eyes wide open, words unspoken. Where are you going, darling? Where have you been? Stories to tell, emotions we felt, good and the bad in the hands we've been dealt. I wanna know why, I wanna know why you're the way you are. He's from the city, she's from the south. Two different chapters told miles out. The back row living in his White House. So many stories right in front of me. Some people climb to heights I've never seen. Too many falling down off their feet. These stories take digging deep. Eyes wide open, words unspoken. Where are you going, darling? Where have you been? Stories to tell, emotions we felt, good and the bad in the hands we've been dealt. I wanna know why, I wanna know why you're the way you are. Why you're the way you are. Why you're the way you are. Tiptoe around with face of a stranger. Quiet observer, never get too close. I see the world, but it's through this window. Another side to see, I'm ready to know. Not every story's written on a sleeve. Some stories take digging deep. Eyes wide open, words unspoken. Where are you going, darling? Where have you been? Stories to tell, emotions we felt, good and the bad in the hands we've been dealt. I wanna know why, I wanna know why you're the way you are. He's from the city, she's from the south. Two different chapters told miles out. The back row living in his White House. So many stories that I need to know. Not every story's written on a sleeve. Some stories take digging deep. Eyes wide open, words unspoken. Where are you going, darling? Where have you been? Stories to tell, emotions we felt, good and the bad in the hands we've been dealt. I wanna know why, I wanna know why you're the way you are. So many stories right in front of me. Some people climb to heights I've never seen. Too many falling down.
Woohoo! Hello, everyone, and well, that was a sad woohoo, wasn't it?
Woo! Hello.
Welcome to a Silver Sunday on this July the 11th. So, hope everyone is doing well. I've had one heck of a week, even though we had no students this week. It's been just seems like one thing right after another, and I'm exhausted, but it's a fun kind of exhausted, right? I mean, we live to be that way. I'm getting a slight echo from somebody. I'm not sure who it is. So, as we launch into the stuff, some updates, right? Kickstarter fulfillment for Divinity 2 and Steam Patriots 1 is 95. No. I'm going to go 97% done.
97 and a half.
Yeah, right. So I still have about 10 people who didn't do their surveys and did not respond to my emails when I said I need a postal address for you. So
No. You just have to know where to send the stuff. You just know.
You're right. Yeah.
We get that all the time on the Kablam side when we're fulfilling stuff. People we'll get a list
Carson
of
and go,
addresses.
This one
Exactly.
goes to 13 Main Street. Yeah.
I know what the name is.
Yeah, right.
They rip it up. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's going to be about I want to say about a dozen, 10 to a dozen going out tomorrow. And then there's about 10 left whose names, whose addresses I just don't have. So I can't get it to you without that. Other than that, everyone should have your physical rewards on the way to you. I started the digital rewards last night. Got some of the digital first that some of you backed because you don't really want to get number 2 if you haven't read number 1. So I got those out, and then hopefully not tonight, but hopefully maybe every night going forward this week, I'll get some of the rewards out to you. Get some of the stretch goals. You should all get R.A. Jones's book. That's what I'm planning to send out to you tomorrow. Everyone should get R.A. Jones's book, and then the Steam Patriots novel. And then hopefully then by the end of the week, everyone will have everything except for you few who did not send me a postal address. So yeah, be sure you do that because we're getting ready to launch another one this Thursday. We're going to launch another Kickstarter, and you know the way it goes now. These books will be done by the time the campaign is over. They're practically done now. I just heard Roberta say before we went live that she had 2 pages left to do. Was that correct, Roberta? She's frozen on my screen. She frozen on your screen? Anybody else? Oh, Roberta left.
She's gone. She's out of here. Oh, she's back.
It's like, I'm sorry, Roberta. I didn't mean to put you on the spot with that question.
No, seriously, my internet froze, and I was trying to figure out what had happened.
So my question to you was,
Okay.
I think that I heard you say you had 2 pages of Champion of Miss Fury left to do, right?
I have done all of the preparation for the final page, so there's like a thought process. So I know what I'm doing. I know where the colors are going. So the coloring itself is going to go pretty quick. So I'm about 95% done with the previous page. So it's really close.
Okay, that sounds good. So really, it'll be done by the time we launch, right?
It'll be done by tomorrow.
Yeah, there you go. So yeah. So we've got a couple of. We do have. I want to say this week we've got to finish up 2 of the bear covers and finish one Champion of Miss Fury cover, and then everything else is done. We're getting Dean Zachary has graciously agreed to do a cover for both of them, and those will both be the Kickstarter exclusive covers. Again, so thank you. Big shout out to Dean if you're listening, or if you listen to this later, Dean. Thank you so very much. I've already seen the bear cover, and it looks great. So Tommy, maybe expected email from me when I start having him.
Okay. All right.
So
I'll print it out tomorrow and try to ink it tomorrow night.
Okay, cool.
When I get,
then I'll be
because we need to make that a reward level.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
And also the same for the Champion Miss Fury cover as well.
Oh, so, there's two to do?
Yeah, he's doing so we have 2 already for Champion of Miss Fury, right? The one that you guys did. Then there was the sort of the classic Stephen Butler image. And then Dean is going to do an image that we'll use for the Kickstarter exclusive covers.
Oh, okay. See, for whatever reason, I thought that there was. Okay, good. Okay, so 2 to do. Got it. So the bear one is. I think that one's good for me to ink. I'll print it out tomorrow and then get it started. Yes. Gotcha. All right, I know what to do. Yeah. Gotcha.
Excellent. Yeah, and then the other bear cover, Haley's done one, which you can see, which is the part of the image on the Kickstarter, and then Aaron Humphreys did penciled the other cover, and Rebecca Winslow inked it. So and Haley should be coloring that as we speak, I guess. I'm really not sure what she's doing exactly. So that's for the Kickstarter updates. So you guys be ready. You're gonna love this upcoming Kickstarter. You've seen these projects from start to finish. You saw Pete when he started penciling on them so many months ago. You saw him, you saw the pencils, you saw Tommy inking them, you saw Roberta coloring them. So you have watched this project already as we put it together. So get ready. You're going to love it. Hopefully these images that we've been posting on the social medias have kind of whet your appetite, and you got your quarters ready to drop in the slot machine when the Kickstarter goes live on Thursday. So. Yay! So okay,
I'm so happy it's done. It's so amazing. So much work went into this book.
Yes, yeah. But it's fun work, right?
Oh yeah,
that's what it's all about.
Of course it is.
Yeah. So big shout out to our sponsors. First, Daytona Beach Comic Con, September 18th, 19th. Big gaggle of Silverline creators are going to be there. Make sure that you make your plans to go. Daytona Beach Comic Con, one of the very coolest comic book shows in the area here. I know you've heard me say it before, but the last time I attended the Big Box show here and Daytona in the same year, Daytona had more comic books than the Big Box show. So excuse me. So yeah. So shout out to them. I think we've got another week or so left for the sponsorship for History Camp too, as well. So History Camp's going on, I think, this week. So it may have even started yesterday, right? Did it start the 10th, or did it start today? Anybody remember?
I don't know.
I don't remember either. So big shout out to History Camp. Hopefully they're really happy with the way Steam Patriots has turned out and that. So thank you very much, History Camp, for your support. And also a big shout out and nod to Carlos and New Armor Media, who is producing us behind the scenes. Thank you so very much, Carlos. We appreciate all that you're doing, keeping us running, keeping the images up there. So. Roberta, I see you have in your hands a nice mug there. Can you tell us what that is?
Oh,
yeah,
absolutely. Can you see the character?
I can see it. Can the stream?
That is Mouse.
We're getting a hang on 1 second from Carlos. So hold it for a minute. Now you're good. Okay. So yes,
I love this mug so much, and it's black on the inside and the handle. And there's color choices for that, but I like the black one.
Cool. That looks very good. So yeah, don't forget we have a merch store. I had intended to work on the merch store this past week, but things came up. Primarily, my van died, so we've had to scramble around to try to. I've been car shopping for 3 days, and I can't stand it. Probably not as bad as shoe shopping, though, huh, Pete?
Oh yeah.
All right, so let's get introductions done. I am Roland. I am the chief cook and bottle washer here. I am the guy who is writing these two books that we're kickstarting this Thursday. I'm the writer of Bear and of Silverline Team Up, Champion, and Miss Fury. So next up is Pete. Pete, tell everybody who you are.
Hi, I'm Pete. I'm a penciler. I'm just a penciler. No, I'm the penciler on Champion and Miss Fury. Or Silverline Team Up Champion and Miss Fury, and I pencil. That's what I do. I don't know.
You're missing your hat.
Nothing. I haven't been able to get my hat. It's still that room's still occupied.
Oh,
so yeah.
Do we need to send in the reinforcements to reacquire your room?
No, it won't be long now. Won't be long. I'll have it back. I'll be back in my working office.
All right. Tommy, tell folks who you are.
Thomas Florimonte Jr. I've been doing comics since the early 90s. Worked for just about everybody at one point or another, it seems like. It feels like, anyway. I've done some Spider-Man stuff. I've done just a boatload of stuff for the Ultraverse stuff. Did a lot of stuff with Roland with the Ultraverse and the Malibu Comics stuff, including some earlier Superline stuff also. Um, what did we do lately? We finished up the Trump's book, Trump's 1 and 2, and we're trying to finish up 3 and 4 of it. But we've got the Silverline team up book that we're going to talk about a little tonight. I think a little bit more, maybe. I guess.
Yep.
I've got a list of things, but I'm trying to go by without looking at the list. I'm also the co-owner of Kablam Digital Printing, which prints comics for just about everybody, including the Silverline stuff. And then you can find, you can see all my Kid Hero stuff at infernostudios.com.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tommy. And Roberta, tell folks who you are.
Hi, I'm Roberta Conroy. I'm a former Malibu, then Marvel Comics colorist from the 90s, the LA area, and also just a colorist. But I am the colorist for the upcoming Kickstarter, so I'm so excited to be coloring and finishing the Silverline Team Up Champion and Miss Fury.
Sweet. So,
and also I'm coloring Cat and Mouse, and that's coming up.
Yeah. Hopefully, Wubba's listening a little bit. Wubba, I hadn't heard from you. You're gonna have to drop you an email again, saying, "Hey, what's up?" Hopefully, Wubba is doing well, and he can start rejoining us on the streams in the not too distant future. So Roberta, this is I feel it's one of these things. I feel kind of like Pete too as well. It's like I feel like we've been working on this for a long time, and I think the stream probably makes it feel that way a little bit because we kind of hang out regularly. But now this is your first Kickstarter, right?
This is my very first Kickstarter.
Yeah.
Yeah, you started me on Pendulum, and then so I just kind of didn't have a specific Kickstarter date for that.
Well,
this is a current book with brand new art coming, just beginning. And so the process was from beginning to end on this book. And that's my first experience like that with you guys.
Yeah.
That's great.
So kind of the way this happened, I know we told it before, but, I saw you talk about, missing, I think you posted on Facebook somewhere that you missed coloring. And so I sent you a private message and said, so how badly do you really miss coloring? Do you really want to color? That was kind of what I was getting at. And so I wasn't really sure because, you've got the full-time job. And I'm like, well, I wasn't really sure if you would really... I wasn't sure how badly you missed it, so I'm like, well, we've got this one, and it's like, we're in a big hurry. We can kind of the Pendulum, right? I'm like,
right.
You liked it. I'm like, whenever is kind of the kind of thing, and then you're like,
oh, casual and like,
right, yeah, and then you're like, you kept getting more and more into it. And I'm like, okay, so there's this thing, yeah. I was like, there's this thing, but it's not. It's going to be more a necessity. As it turned out, you've almost finished Pendulum as well.
Yeah, it's getting there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So it was that was kind of interesting. So your first Kickstarter, thoughts about it? Kind of are there any thoughts going into it?
Well, I think last week we were discussing this with Tommy that I think us both working at Malibu together, and I've worked on his inks before, I think there's some kind of a similar mentality to the idea of what needs to be colored and how the lines are and what have you. I think they're just, somehow we're in the same ballpark. Like, yeah. I don't even have to sit there and mull over any bit of the, process. It's like I instantly know what he's going for, and I think that he probably had the same experience with Peter's pencils. because
Yeah,
I feel like it
love
came
Peter's stuff.
together so quick, and it just looks so precise.
Yeah.
I think it just is a great team of people that understand each other. There's no like, oh, you're not getting it, or weird personalities. It's just been a dream. It's a great
Yeah.
experience, and I really can't believe this all happened like this. Just melted into place.
Well,
Yeah.
it's definitely looking great. That's for sure. Yeah.
Well, I've been telling you, or not you guys. When I've been talking about it to people. I said, this is one of those things. I said, I really feel like I've got the Rockstar band, because you guys have just really, really jammed. And I'm like, okay, so it's like you get these all-star rock bands. They've got a fantastic lead guitar player and a bass player and a drummer. And okay, well, they've got an okay singer, but it's really the band that matters. And it's like, all right, you got it. I feel like I've really stepped into it with an all-star rock band. You guys are really just jamming. I really do think that, and I hope the images, whet the appetites. But I really do think when people see this, they're just going to be blown away. They're just going to be going, wow, really? And you're calling it Silverline Team Up Champion and Miss Fury? It's like, it's like, so yeah. So what about you, Pete? I mean, is this your first Kickstarter?
Yeah, it's the first one I'm
Okay.
the interior artist on. I can think of. Yeah. Well, I've done anthologies before, but
Okay.
that's
So
been, I had nothing really to do with the Kickstarter. That's just sort of, I just done the pages and then they've done it, and yeah. So this is one I'm actually probably truly invested in. This is
you.
My book, I suppose.
That's right.
Now,
it is.
It's mine.
No.
It's mine. Yeah. So
I think
it's just us. It's just this team.
Yeah.
So yeah, obviously, I remember our first conversation. I'm sure you recall it well. We said, "Do one Kickstarter with me, kid, and you'll retire." And I was like, "Yeah, okay." So
that's not how I heard it, but that's
yeah. So,
we'll see how it pans out.
Make him rich.
I'm looking forward to hanging up my pencil and kicking back. So yeah, good times.
You just need more shoes, is what you need.
Oh yeah, that'll run through all the money.
All right. Well, do you guys want to see the page I've been working on?
Yes.
Sure.
Yeah.
Share?
Absolutely.
If you don't mind, I'm going to share.
No. I worked on trying to finalize the both of the Bear issue 1 and not finalized, but
all right. Here's our page.
Wow.
21.
Yeah.
So we got water tower falling and water everywhere.
Wait, hold on. Are we on screen, Carlos?
Can we see the water?
Yeah, hold on. Wait, Carlos got to give us the thumbs up here. Gotta get.
So is it all right?
Oh, I love that.
Wait.
Look at that.
Let me get it framed.
Wait, Roberta, wait, you're not on yet. Okay, now you're on. Okay, start all over. Okay, go, Roberta. Talk.
Okay. So here we got our dastardly characters attacking champion. Boo! And they're trying to foil him, and so they've come up with this great plan. I think only one of them had the idea of throwing this explosive on a water tower, so that's pretty dastardly of them.
So zoom up a little bit on that third panel there. That's I when Pete penciled that, that's one of those I stared and stared and stared and stared, going, man, how cool is it? It is just I look at it, it just captures
so
all
much
of
power.
the weight of the world, and it's like, I've got this, and it's sort of the Atlas sort of thing, and it looks like it's painful, and
the grit in the teeth, and that strength in the leg. It's a really great panel.
Yeah, just awesome panel. I just stared at that just looking at every line.
So cool.
Yeah, I can't remember if I put it in the plot, Pete. So you might have to remind me. But now, this scene is for me, it was inspired by one of my all-time favorite comic books. Notice how I'm segueing into the topic.
Oh, okay.
I got a grin out of Carlos out of that one. So this scene was inspired by one of my favorite comic books as a kid. And Pete, did I put that link in there to the Spider-Man comic in the plot? Did at all? Do you remember?
Maybe a year. You may have done.
Yeah,
I know. I've got that book somewhere. And
yeah. Okay. Cool. So even without that, then did that kind of spring to your mind as well?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah.
Cool. Yeah. I mean, for me as well. There's just and I can't remember what issue it was. It was an earlier Spider-Man. I'm gonna Google Spider-Man and Water Tower. A Water Tower. I'll watch you give me some Todd McFarlane stuff.
Because he's the only one that did Spider-Man.
Right, exactly.
Is it 31, 33?
You know what? I was actually thinking 31, so I'm gonna put in 31, and so okay, no, it is 33. You were right the second time around. No, wait a minute. What? Why is it showing me a different cover? No, it's 33. It is 33. Yeah, and it's just this incredible scene where Spider-Man captures or catches an entire water tower on his back, and he's kind of pinned under it. I think the movie, one of the movies, tried to kind of do that as well with I think it was Tobey Maguire's version.
Yeah, the scene with the subway scene.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, I think so. And but I just remember reading that as a kid and just being super inspired by that and going, man, that's awesome. Because one of the things that I mean, if you read Stan Lee now, the stories, this is what I tell my students: if you read Stan Lee today, the stories are still top notch, but his dialogue is very dated. They all talk, like they're hippies out of the 60s. Cool hip daddy, the stories are still good and they still stand, but yeah, his dialogue is very dated. So I was super excited to see that Pete, you captured all that kind of, for me, all of what those emotions that I had as a kid when reading that. So yeah, that is our topic tonight. Did I forget? So I feel like I've forgotten something in the introductions. Have I forgotten something, you guys? We everybody.
Our sponsors.
We got our sponsors.
Mm-hmm.
We got the Kickstarter update. So all right, we're good to go. Let's just keep rocking. All right, so how about it? What comics inspired you as a kid?
I've mentioned it over and over and over again. It's just, the big Spider-Man fan. I've always just not any one particular, but just the overall all of the Spider-Man books. I kind of wanted to be Spider-Man. I think in the comics that I write down, my Kid Hero comics, the Zomboy, I do his speech pattern based off of, Peter Parker just being a smart aleck, kind of like, when Peter, Spider-Man is, harassing the bad guys and, chatting them up and all that kind of stuff. So it's always a big Spider-Man.
Well, you already know I'm a fan of Zomboy, but now I've always seen, for me as a reader of your Zomboy, I've always seen Zomboy more of a Calvin and Hobbes-ish.
The basic idea of it is that, I think I kind of picture when he's the dialogue, when he's talking to people, when he's like, like holy guacamole and all those kind of stupid things that I have him saying it, and just being a little smarty pants too is, So, like when Spider-Man would just make fun of people as he's beating them up or getting beat up. And I always thought that was great.
So did that make you want to go out and beat up people and make fun of them?
Yep. Yes, I
Good
did.
lesson, guys.
And
yeah, right.
With pulled on my Spider-Man outfit and all that kind of stuff. Yep. That was a really tall Spider-Man too, so that was really weird.
That's right. Yeah. That is the one thing about our streams is you can't tell, you really can't tell how tall. People don't realize how tall you are. You are 6'5", and you can't see that in the video, right?
We'll do it this way.
Yeah.
So guys, we had. Oh,
Did you kind of like Jim Shooter? They used to do Jim Shooter in the comic books.
Jaws top his head off the top.
Yeah. So, what was it that so what was it though about Spider-Man that inspired you? It was, and when we say inspired you, it inspired you to do what? Be a better person? And I was kidding when I said, make fun of people and beat them up. But how was it that Spider-Man inspired you?
I need to think about this a minute. I'm going to pass for a second. Let me come up with something.
Okay.
Yeah.
Roberta, how about you?
I came from a different place where I think my very first comic experience was I was expecting to read the papers. So the funnies in the papers was like when I was really young, I just couldn't wait for the comedy aspect of it. So like that actually was my foothold to beginning.
Yeah. So what were some of your favorite comic strips?
Garfield.
Oh, yeah, cool.
Which I loved. I always loved Peanuts. For whatever reason, it was just really, really good. And then later I liked Kathy.
Oh, yeah.
That just was snarky and funny.
Yeah.
But I think that's just where it comes down to is just I had a feeling and expectation that it satisfied. Like I really wanted to laugh for a second, and I could count on it, And it's like, so that started me to want that, I think. So
they're just so short. That was my problem with comic
strips.
They
were too short.
Yeah.
You're left wanting for.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's probably why, part of the reason I gravitated towards comic books instead of comic strips is because you could, get a comic book, a comic strip, you can read that even, of course I didn't read them all, but, you could read the comic strips and be done in, 5 minutes probably. A comic book, one with some meat to it, you could sit down for 30 minutes.
And get lost.
Yeah. And I mean, this we won't run off. I don't think we'll run off on this tonight. But one of my pet peeves about comics today is those that have no words in them, and you can flip through them in 5 minutes. And I'm like, well, that was a waste of my time. It's like, I love art. Don't get me wrong, but it's like it's if I want to just see art, I'll go to a museum and look at art, or I'll go online. I want, when I get a comic book, I want something to read. I want something that's going to get me lost in the story with the images, of course. But yeah. So Pete, what about you? What comics inspired you as a kid?
The first comics I got were Spider-Man reprints here in the UK. They used to sell them in the local corner shop.
Were they Marvel Tales? Is that what they were called?
No, they were. No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. It was an English. Like, they just collected stories and reprinted them for the English audience. So they had one of the first ones they did was one of the first ones I picked up was the Clone Saga.
Wow!
So you just got dumped straight in there, and there was this guy called Kane running around, and and then you suddenly revealed that Peter Parker's actually Ben Reilly, or I can't even remember anymore.
Right.
So you're like, what on earth is going on? Because you haven't been reading it. It's just, they just reprint the stories that might have been running at some point, and they just like, there you go, these are your first stories. So Spider-Man's always been my favourite. Cool. But the first comics I picked up from a comic shop were, it must have been 96, when they were doing the Heroes Reborn stuff. So obviously now I know that Rob Liefeld and Jim Lee had returned from Image to do this Marvel thing. And I just remember picking these stories up, and I was like, "Oh, these are insane! These are the artwork, and this is mad. This is brilliant. I love this. And I loved it, and I devoured those Captain America. Rob Liefeld Captain America, I thought was cool.
Yeah.
And Jim Lee's, I think he was doing the Avengers or the Fantastic Four, and then Will I can't say his surname.
Portacio. Will Portacio.
He was doing Iron Man. The lines on that were so different to what everyone else was doing.
Yeah.
And he had this huge Hulk with just bursting muscles. I was like blown away. This stuff is the coolest stuff in the world. Then I went back to find out why is this. I managed to pick up the X-Men Onslaught stuff that sort of led up to it.
Right.
And I love X-Men. I was obviously familiar with the characters from the cartoons, so I bought those. So I knew.
Okay. You're talking about the X-Men now, right?
Yeah, X-Men, Spider-Man, and Iron Man. Because in the 90s, Marvel did all those cartoons.
Right. Yeah.
So we got those here, and I was familiar with them from that.
Which weren't as good as the DC cartoons then.
What did DC have then?
They had the Batman. The Batman Begins.
Oh, Batman Begins.
Yeah. I think Marvel's probably caught up in the quality, but boy, those first years. Well, I think it's the 90s and then the early aughts. DC was killing it with their animation. I mean, they were the Justice League stuff they were doing. That was good stuff. Justice League Unlimited.
I can watch those again and again and again and again. They are brilliant, and they are good adaptations of the comics.
Yeah. So what about it? Excuse me. So what about these comics? Did you find inspiring? I know you talked about the artwork, but and of course, as an artist, I know that's going to keep you coming back. But what about it was inspiring to you? What kept you going back to read them again and again?
The same reason I read them now, I suppose, because they're fantastic. They're fantastical stories, and I love fantasy and sci-fi, and this stuff comes out every single month, and it's got these bright colours of these superhuman people doing these. It's just action non-stop. That's what kids. As a kid, you love that stuff.
Yeah, well, yeah.
You love all that action. They're not so worried about the emotional journey of the character. They just want to see some characters fighting and some big explosions, and you got all that from the Heroes Reborn stuff.
Yeah, but they also managed to, and I think this is one of the things that I loved about Marvel is that you were able to get both of those, right? Because I also read my Spider-Man. I read the two Spider-Man books, but I got the old Spider-Mans in the reprints called Marvel Tales. So I'm reading the old Ditko stories. At the same time, I'm reading the David Michelinie stories with the Kraven's Last Hunt and stuff like that. Right? I'm reading the old Ditko stories, and I remember, I remember when Gwen Stacy died in the Marvel Tales.
Mm-hmm.
I was moved. I was emotionally moved by that, So I think for me, I think that's one of the things I always looked at Marvel is that you got action in every issue of Marvel, right? But you also got some of that emotional stuff that was on a deeper level if you wanted that,
Yeah, as a kid, I don't think you pick up on that, but you do, but you're not aware that you're picking up on that.
Right.
And you have some of you, and I think it's always been said, Spider-Man's very relatable especially for teenage kids or young kids, because he's always talking about he's got problems, he's never got any money, or he likes this girl, and that girl doesn't like him, and the girls never like him except for Mary Jane. They never like him. He's a nerd. Why would they? He's not the billionaire playboy who can have anything he wants whenever he wants, or the superhuman god that flies around. He's just basically a regular, and a lot of them are Marvel heroes. They're just regular guys.
Yeah. Peter's just a regular fella that just happened to have all these powers. He got all the problems that. I think that's kind of what I was trying to piece together. But Pete, you said it. It's he's just a regular dude that's just got all kind of. At least anyway, the earlier books. Now I haven't read it in a while, but yeah, he was just a dude that ended up having all these super.
Yeah, I think
the
only one probably not as relatable is probably Iron Man, because he is a billionaire.
Yeah.
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 In a super suit. Even Captain America is relatable in that he's lost, he's out of time, and things don't make sense to him from where he's from.
Well,
and I think they did that well in the films. That he's like this old man, basically, in a young man's body.
Fantastic, yeah. Well, I think the other thing about Captain America that you talk about is that when you know his story, he started off as a 98-pound weakling, and
he's the nerd again.
Yeah, he's a nerd. That's right. He's a nerd who gets it all. But then, he where you might picture. Or you might think, okay, well, here's a nerd who gets it all. Now he's going to abuse it. He doesn't, right? He's like, no. I've got this power. I didn't have the power before. Now I have it. Now I must do the right thing.
Yeah.
And I think that's fun as a reader to watch, because we all struggle with that. Okay, should I lie or should I not lie? They just asked me this question: should I tell them the truth or should I tell them the lie? If I tell them a lie, then
might be easier,
right?
Not the
right. And so so we don't all have to struggle with fighting the Red Skull, but we all have to struggle with doing the right and wrong. And I think that's, for me, that's the reason Spider-Man inspired me, because he had that same struggle. Captain America, had that struggle as well. And I think those were the kinds of characters that inspired me.
Yeah. Now, sometimes wonder if that's got lost now in comics, because basically those comics were YA, weren't they? They were youth.
Yeah.
Fiction. It was fiction for kids, basically, and it was the stuff that kids could relate to, and they say, okay, yeah, I can see that. But as the audience has got older, those comic books have got older, the characters have aged as well, and now they have adult problems, and the kids don't relate to that anymore, and the readership will fall off from that age group.
You think that's why they're doing the Spider-Man? They're going to stick with doing the younger kids story.
Yeah, they're aiming at the kids again, because otherwise your readership is going to die off as people die off.
Right.
I mean, how old? What are they? Are they 60, 70 years old? Some of them older.
Right, yeah. Nobody wants to see Grandpa swinging around the New York City. I mean.
So they.
He was kind of fun in that the what's the animated movie that came out a couple of years ago where he was a little older. The multiverse thingy with.
That was really good. Yeah.
Yeah, he was a little older. I guess he was in his 40s or so, and that was.
Well, you're talking about Peter Parker.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And that's what I think of the what's the Batman? Is it 2099 or where Bruce Wayne's the old mentor, basically?
Yeah.
I think that's what people like that as well, because it was the kid. I can't remember what his name was now.
Right.
He was Batman, and he wasn't a billionaire. He was just Terry. It was Terry, wasn't it? Terry something. So he's more relatable than Bruce Wayne. Okay, he's not Bruce. Bruce Wayne's always going to be Batman, but he's a bit more relatable. I think that's they're probably going to try and do something with that. Yeah, they should do anyway.
Well, if you think about it, if you look at the comics, say in the 1940s, one of the reasons that we got all these sidekicks, we can kind of make fun of them now, but one of the reasons the publishers included all these sidekicks was because they wanted the younger audience to have somebody to identify with, because comics weren't first created for kids. That was, even though that's the misconception, they weren't created for kids. They were just created for the general audiences. But they put the sidekicks there so that kids would have something that they could latch onto. Peaches, that's something which I wholeheartedly agree with, is that what's happened is the audience has aged up, and Marvel and DC have kind of aged up with them. But
that's understandable, because those kids are now the ones running it, and they're the ones that have sort of, like, they've grown up, they're writing them and making them, and They just want to see those stories continue, and that's just logical. That will happen.
It does, but I remember, and I don't remember where I read it, but I remember reading a Stan Lee quote one time that said, because they asked him, they were saying, well, why do your characters never change? How come we've had them for all these years and they never change? He says, well, our core audience, of course, at the time, the Marvel readership was primarily college age, or a lot of college age kids, but Stan Lee even said our target audience is the 12 to 16-year-old, and they said, why 12 to why does it end at 16? He said, well, at 16, he said our major demographic is young boys. He said at 16 the boys discover two things: cars and girls, right? And so we lose our readership, so we have to maintain that demographic in our comics because our readership turns over every 4 years. And I think, this is a theory I've held on to for a long time, and you saying what you did is kind of in support of that, is that I think probably somewhere along the lines in the maybe late 80s, but certainly in the 90s, after Shooter was gone, I think they lost that idea. I think they started chasing the fanboy dollar, saying, okay, well, fanboys is no longer, we're no longer chasing these 12 to 16-year-olds. They're now 18 and 25, and
it kept moving and not getting the younger folks in there,
right? Yeah. And I think that's why, not to get into bashing Marvel and DC today, but they are selling at an all-time historical low today. They've never sold. In the whole history of Marvel and DC, they've never sold lower than they are selling today. And
they've also got to compete now with kids playing Xbox and PlayStations all the time. They don't go out, and parents have no need to go and buy them.
Right.
Comic book. If they spent $50 on a computer game, they're not going to get nothing else.
But also, they're not the target demographic anymore. Right. So if you're a parent and you're going to go buy your kid comic books and you go to look at the Marvel and DC content, it's like,
there's not a lot.
Right. Yeah. It's like, I don't know. Maybe I'll just.
Spider-Man's about it, really. You can't give them a Batman book.
Yeah.
As I discovered when I tried to give it to one of my nephews, and then my brother gave it back to me. He said, someone said, off. You can't give him that. I was like, oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Is that a bad thing? All right. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, that Spider-Man's. I used to work in a store, and that was all we could really recommend when they came in. You're like, oh, Spider-Man.
Isn't that sad though?
Yeah, no, it is.
Yeah.
And you feel bad. It's like you want them to read lots, but actually, you couldn't really think of much else. And I know there's a drive now towards more stuff being made.
Right.
And obviously, I don't read that, so I don't know what that is. But
yeah.
That's kind of the main reason when I do my own books, I try to make them all ages, especially younger folks type of stuff. You can ask Roland when we're at the shows. It's usually I get the kids are the ones that I'm trying to get to come to the table, and it's I want everybody to read the stuff that I do. I'm not talking about when I'm doing books with you guys and stuff, just my personal Inferno Studio stuff. And stuff I do with my wife. I try to make it young reader, all age books, especially the younger folks, because I kind of feel that, we need to get those guys into reading, getting the books. So that's why I specifically target those.
Well, and I will say this that's one of the key reasons for me insisting that Silverline is PG-13. I look at the Marvel movies and go, look at the billions that they rake in. You go to the movies, you see families there, you see kids that are younger than 13, at the theaters, but they're there with their parents, and that's who I want reading our comics. I don't, of course I want the collector that's 40 years old. But I want the new generation reading them. I want them to look at Champion and say, "Look at this guy." Of course, he's I'm not sure he's going to be, but Fury is certainly a younger character, right? And you want them to be able to look at them and identify with them, and so yeah. So that's one of the primary reasons.
I tried to say to a 7-year-old, that Champion was probably 20 25. And he's like, no, he's not. No, he's not. He's old. Like, he's not old.
No, he's not that old.
No, it's not funny though.
Well, and that's one of the reasons that Cat and Mouse, when we talk about their ages, and we talk about them a little bit, but Cat and Mouse are basically 18 and 17. So they're younger, but the PG-13 is I want them to be available. I want parents to be able to come up and say, hey, we want to be able to read these books, and so look, here are all these books. You can read them. You don't have to worry about
anything inappropriate,
any kind of R-rated content.
Yeah.
So Pete, that's why I had to go through and fix a lot of the stuff that you drew, because you drew a little bit of, a little too round, a little too much cleavage and stuff. I took care of it for you.
You mean all those underwear scenes?
Yeah, I had to take them out, put clothes on.
That stuff sells. The kids will be all over there.
Well,
That's true. That's right.
I get it on a separate layer. So that way we can have those. We can sell that book separate from the other book.
Yeah.
A swimsuit edition, you mean?
There you go.
Yeah. Stephen Brown says, what keeps me coming back to read more comics is how impactful they are. I go back to read Spider-Man, and no matter what, he can overcome any obstacle, and he carries a responsibility with his powers. What do you guys think?
That's cool.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Him having powers means something to him. It's just not, whenever he does something, this was back in the day. I don't know about, currently, but whenever he did something that may have hurt somebody or, did something bad, they wrote him in a way where he felt bad about it. So a lot of times, sometimes he beat some people up, but most of the time,
but when he did, he always felt bad about it, right?
Yeah, he did.
He
sure did. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think what's the great line that comes out of the Spider-Man books about power?
2 bits, 4 bits, 6 bits, $1.
I'm not sure that was it.
No, that's not it. Right.
With great power comes great responsibility.
Oh, that was it. That's it. That's it.
Oh, I've heard that.
Mm-hmm.
Dempsey says the comic that inspired me was Marvel versus DC. That's an interesting.
Wow! Yeah.
Which one? The Spider-Man Superman team up book? Which one?
It was like an Avengers versus Justice League almost.
When did this come out? I don't remember.
That was George Perez, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Was it?
Yeah. It was the George Perez thing.
Wolverine fought Lobo, and I'd never heard of Lobo until then. He looked cool. I was pleased Wolverine won.
Lobo's pretty funny.
Batman took on Captain America. That was a good one. Of course, neither of them could win that.
Wouldn't you have liked to have been in those editorial meetings?
Yeah, that's basically what
who was going to win.
Who can they let win out of these two characters? Who's more important? Even as a kid, I knew that. I said Wolverine is the bigger character here. He has to come out on top.
Right.
And Superman, I think Superman fought the Hulk, and I think Superman might have won that actually. But I knew reading Batman, Captain America, I was like, I don't think either of these can. Captain America definitely can't lose. He's Captain America.
Was it a group publishing thing, or did they print their two different? How did that work? I don't remember.
It was what they published. It was co-published.
Yeah, it was
co-published. I think it's
co-published.
the only time it ever happened.
So whoever's name was on top of that particular issue, their character won that particular book, right? So if it said Marvel DC, then
so I don't know.
Yeah, Dempsey says he had the graphic novel. Lobo fought Wolverine, and a Silver Surfer versus Green Lantern. Superman did win against the Hulk. So yeah.
I loved it because you talk about that stuff. Or who would win out of these?
Yeah, it was stronger, Superman or the Hulk.
Yeah, and it's like, oh, cool, they're fighting, but at the same time, like, I guess maybe I was at an age where I was suddenly aware that corporations
right
have a
say.
And certain characters can't lose.
That's when they moved the curtain and you saw the man behind the curtain, right? Yeah.
And I think Batman and Captain America teamed up. They figured it out what was going on. They teamed up.
They fight and then they go, wait a minute, there's a real bad guy over there. And then
Right.
It was really cool.
Yeah. Well,
Thanos and Darkseid, that was cool.
Yeah.
Thanos and Darkseid, they basically became the bad baddies they had to fight. And I can't remember if they fought each other. But I obviously wanted Thanos to win because I knew who Thanos was. I didn't know who Darkseid was.
Right.
I was like, oh, I love Thanos. He's really
I
cool.
always pronounced it until actually not terribly long ago. I always pronounced it Dark Seed.
I did as well. I did as well.
Because it has that funny spelling,
Darkseid.
you know?
I think Darkseid's better personally, but
I do
whatever.
too. If someone said Darkseid, I'm like, I'm not sure who that is. And
I
they're
know
like,
what Darkseid is. It's Darth Vader.
Darth Vader. Yeah.
But yeah, I think Thanos lost it actually.
You know, I always say the y'all remember the Spider-Man, Superman, the big book, right? The one
Yeah.
they were
Oh,
fighting.
yeah.
I always say that if they, you know, when they had to beef up Spider-Man so he was as powerful as Superman, who was winning?
Spider-Man was. Oh,
winning.
yeah.
So if they were equal, Spider-Man would beat Superman. Just saying, right now, boom, mic drop.
Yeah.
Yeah, if they were equal, now, or if you brought Superman down to Spider-Man's power level, Spider-Man would win.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So there you go.
But isn't that kind of the point, though, is that they're not...
That's the silliest thing. The silliest thing.
Yeah.
Ultimately, anyone who fights Superman gets vaporized from space if he needs to.
Anybody that he's fighting that's just a human, he could just fly him into space and leave them and then fly back down and they just suffocate.
So here's a question for you, because I think we're kind of all in agreement here about Superman. Why hasn't DC or why hasn't corporation at DC ever said Superman is too powerful, let's bring him back down to the 1940s levels? Because
where he jumped instead of flew.
Yeah, I mean, Pete, you've obviously seen the Fleischer cartoons, right?
Yes.
Yeah, Roberta, have you seen those? The Fleischer cartoons of Superman from the 1940s?
Oh, the 40s ones? I've seen
them.
Yeah.
You can buy them at Walmart for like $5 a piece. The covers look terrible. Right? You look at them and you're like, ooh, that looks nasty. But on the inside, the Fleischer animation is really, really, really... I mean, look at this cover. I hope nobody we know did it. That's a terrible cover. Look at that. I mean, that's just terrible artwork. Grief.
Pete did that one on the side.
Pete didn't do that.
I'll happily do some work like that.
Right, really. Yeah, I'll do a DVD cover for you. But no, the animation is fantastic. But if you look back at his power level, and you even think about it, able to leap tall buildings in a single bound.
Leap. That's the word.
Yeah. More powerful than a locomotive.
He was stronger than a train. What if he was stronger than a train? He wasn't the super being, super. Yeah, I think that's one of the reasons. I mean, I love Superman, of course, but I think that was one of the reasons why I didn't. It's like I never read his books, never really cared that much because it's like he was just he was Superman. He could do anything and everything. It's like what I said a second ago. If he was fighting a normal dude, all he'd have to do is get him into space and leave him up there, and then that guy would be gone. Right?
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, I don't want Superman to go back to doing that.
So why not? Fly. Oh, you want him to fly?
I like Superman as Superman. Yeah, I don't want him just to be just.
So, do you just want him to fly, or do you like him being as powerful as he is?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I think he's almost like the.
He's a god.
He's everything that every other hero wants to be. So he has to be better than more powerful than the rest. He's the one that everyone should be afraid of. Or all the other heroes should look to. So that's the ideal. That's what we should be like. That's what we should be aiming for.
He's an alien, Peter.
I mean, they've introduced his son, haven't they? They've introduced Superman's son, he's half human, so he's not as powerful. So I guess they're trying to do that.
Maybe I should check that out.
Superman as the the superhero is superhero. I think that needs to be. It should be like that.
Yeah.
Not just a very strong just like another hero.
Well, I think the interest of a hero with that kind of power is seeing that they don't abuse it, right? Because obviously, if you have that kind of power and you abuse it, you become a villain.
Yeah.
Well, and those are definitely different. Those are different stories too, compared to like Spider-Man type stories. Being that he's just a normal fella that can do those things that he can do. But Superman is you can't have the Sinister Six fighting Superman. He would just thump them all on the head if he wanted to,
right?
And just be done with them. Yeah, that kind of thing. So yeah, you've got to have his stories are much different than Spider-Man stories.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think this kind of goes back to something was said earlier, was that's kind of the difference between a Marvel and a DC. Certainly it was a difference between Marvel and DC years ago, is that Marvel had a tendency to have the kind of the everyday character, where DC had those that were kind of all powerful.
Yeah.
And it was hard when when you're a kid, it's hard to identify as someone because you have no power as a kid. You have no power, you have no authority, so it's easier to identify someone who also doesn't have much. So. Dempsey said Ron Mars and Peter David were some of the writers behind the graphic novel, and the art talent was Dan Jurgens and Joe Rubenstein. And Stephen Brown says Batman can beat Superman. The only way Batman can beat Superman is if he's got kryptonite coated costume.
I think I saw that movie. There was a movie just recently, wasn't
it? Yeah. Yeah, it was something, right?
Yeah.
Just don't get John on here talking about how great that movie is. So what else? What else about any other thoughts about comics that inspired you?
The first comic I ever got, the first non-reprint, was an Incredible Hulk 300 and something. It was Adam Kubert, and it had Wolverine, and they were in the Savage Land, and I still think it's the best thing I've ever seen. Wolverine he draws Wolverine so well. He's I think probably the best Wolverine artist, Adam Kubert.
So is that the one that has the cover with Spider-Man in the black costume and Thor?
No. I might have it around somewhere. Give me 2 seconds.
Okay.
I've got it in a drawer here.
I googled issue 300. What did he did say 300, didn't he?
I thought it was 300.
Yeah, I thought he said 300. Yeah, it's a special abnormally. That's Brett Blevins that did that cover. Abnormally large size issue. So
no, I don't have it.
He's got it there somewhere.
It's in a drawer somewhere. I don't know.
Yeah, that's all right.
It might be 400 and something. It was towards the end of that Hulk one. But everything it had this Savage Land. It had Wolverine and it had Hulk, and it was beautiful. And I just wanted to draw like that. I suppose wanted that. But yeah, I'd have read that book. Wolverine, Hulk, and Savage Land. I'd read that book every month. But yeah.
So, all right. So this is not what I don't think it's what you said, but it's what I'm going to ask. So some of these early books that you got, how many times did you read them? That one issue.
Yeah, I went through those books again and again and again. Yeah, because as a kid, I just wanted to draw like that. I wanted to just because I could. Now, if I want a comic book, I can just drive to the comic store and get a book. or I order so many every month. I've got piles and piles of them here.
Right.
But then I'd go to the store and my dad would get me 1 or 2.
Pick your favorite.
So that would have to do until you'd take me again some other time. I don't know when that would be. So I'd read those, and he saw how much I liked them, and he saw how I was trying to copy the pictures in the book. So he bought me the How to Draw Comics the Marvel Way.
Oh, cool! The John
Christmas. Best present I ever got. And I've got some really good presents, right? So, but that's the best I ever got.
Did you get the one that was the paper version, or did you get the digital version? Okay.
No. They didn't have digital versions back then. This is the 90s. I didn't have digital.
No. I mean, it was the 90s. Yeah, we did. I did a digital version.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, sure did. Yeah.
Well, then we didn't have a computer. You didn't have a computer. No, and then I just tried dropping and who was that? It was John Buscema, wasn't it?
Yes, yeah.
And I opened that. I was like, look at these pictures. This guy's drawing really good. And you skip the first chapters where it talks about drawing shapes and shadows.
Cylinders.
I just want to draw this Namor that he's drawn here. I want to draw that, or this Doctor Doom. I want to draw that. That inspired me. I don't care what people say, whether they think it's a good book to teach how to draw. It taught me how to draw.
Yeah.
I just copied those pictures.
Well, and I remember from it too. One of the ways it's one of the things in there is they talked about how to make the panels dynamic, right? It was like here's a static panel, and then here's the way Marvel does it, and it shows them all. They're all kilter and
the camera up here and had it facing down and all that.
Yeah, and the bodies are all distorted, and you're like, that looks so cool.
Yeah,
that's
basically what comics were. It's like comics got to be cool.
Yeah. Well, that's one of the things that. So so you got to hear me out here, right? So I'm not a Todd McFarlane fan, but I'm a Todd McFarlane fan. Mm-hmm. What I mean by that is that I don't, I look at his art and I don't love his art. I like it. I think he's a good artist. Don't get me wrong. But I'm not, Todd McFarlane did this. I can't get it. No, I'm a fan of Todd McFarlane, the man, because I believe he's inspiring. I believe that I love to listen to the guy talk about comic books. I love to listen to the guy talk about making comic books because
he's so excited about it. Yeah.
Yes, he gets excited about it. And Pete, I don't know if you saw, he did a Q&A session with the Kubert School.
He did. I didn't see it. Yeah.
Oh, you should hunt that down. It's probably an hour and a half, something like that. You should hunt that down and watch it. Dude is just super, super inspiring, and he's like, I love, and I like to tell my students some of this as well. It's like, but I love the attitude that he has is like, you don't like your job, quit. Yeah. You don't like the way that's done, fix it. And I'm like, he's just like, it says it like it is, and it's like, look, if you don't like something, don't whine about it, don't mope about it. You want to draw comic books, just draw. And man, there's so much about Todd that is inspiring. So when I say that, I'm a Todd McFarlane fan because of that, and so I hope that he always does well, unless of course he turns into a villain with his power.
He might have a little bit, but
I don't know. Dibs says comic book art is always epic. I had the DVD on How to Draw Comics the Marvel Way. Started tracing before freehanding characters. Yeah. All right. So
tracing if you're learning from it as a kid. I you wouldn't trace now. I wouldn't trace now because it's not enjoyable. But as a kid, definitely trace it.
I don't mind tracing. It's doing a good job. I've been made a living tracing. Oop, no, it's not tracing.
Tommy's suddenly going to start wearing the hat, just a tracer, right?
Just a tracer.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I think that's a great way. Tracing is a great way to help you understand the way forms work and perspective works and things like that.
Well, I told you that when I was breaking in, getting into doing inking and all that kind of stuff, I I was getting the thick and thins wrong and stuff until I actually, I was doing a really good clean job, but it was just something just wasn't right. And finally I took it was an X-Men page way back in the day, and and I put some tracing paper over it, and I started inking the line that they were drawing, and I'm like, that's what I'm doing wrong. And then all of a sudden it just clicked that, and then everything started looking, putting the weight where it needed to be and all that kind of stuff. I was just, so tracing's not a bad way to get you,
Yeah.
yeah.
The next time I have to draw 2 pages of fire engines, I'm probably going to trace it much quicker.
Yeah.
Man.
Why don't just say.
Let me make a note of that here. Pete wants more fire.
More
engines.
fire engines. No, just make sure that you draw the same. You describe the same one facing the same direction. And Pete, you just tell me to put that one from the other page on there, and I'll just
put it
I'll just cut and paste it, right?
On there. Yeah, I'll cut and paste.
I'll draw 1 fire engine, and then you just do the rest.
One exactly.
So what about those guys that those artists that draw 1 fire engine in a 3D model and take that and just move the model around?
That's fine. I don't mind that.
I don't mind that either. You take it to get you kind of a starting point, and then you throw your own style on top of it. Because it's still you still want to make the angle kind of funny and and blow it up and and exaggerate it and all this stuff. We're exaggerating people. That's what we're drawing.
Right.
So yeah. So there's
I think seriously though, if you've got to draw a helicopter or something really technical, and you've got to draw it multiple times on multiple pages, and you've got a deadline of 4 weeks or 3 weeks, then there's nothing wrong with tracing that. Because you can either spend days trying to do it, or just trace over a 3D model that you make.
Yeah,
but you get the same result. Hit the deadline is more important than turning around and saying, "Oh, I drew that helicopter. I drew 20 helicopters all on my own." Super duper. You missed your deadline in 6 weeks.
Whoopee.
I see. No, I got no problem with that either. Particularly, I think if it's your helicopter, right? You draw the helicopter, and then you take your helicopter and just reuse it. Heck, I remember getting in pages at Malibu as an editor that just had it would have different spots. It said photostat of panel 2, page 1, right? And you literally just the exact panel, take it and drop it in. And
those were some of the best pages to ink, where the penciler said the same panel from this other page, and I would go, okay, well, I'm going to get paid for this. I didn't have to do anything; just copy it over. Yeah, those were fun. Kind of real stale some of the times, but yeah.
Well, I think if you don't, it depends on how you use them. As long as you don't overdo them, I think also depends on your panel layout. Like
I was going to say that if it's the same scene, if somebody's sitting at a desk and all the head is just moving back and forth, why don't you just draw the desk once, because nothing's changing on the desk, and just draw the guy moving the phone around from time to time or whatever. No reason to have to keep drawing the computer screen and the keyboard and everything. Unless you knock over a coffee cup or something, and if you want to draw that, but yeah, there's no reason not to photos of that. And now it's cut and paste everything digitally.
Yeah, no, I agree wholeheartedly. I think that Pete says there's no reason to draw 16 helicopters when it's all you to begin with, and it's all into the service of the story anyway, right? It should be.
I think if you want to trace all your figures, go trace all your figures. But I don't think you're going to get much satisfaction out of that.
Yeah.
No. As long as the colorist colors all those 15, 16 helicopters differently with different light gleaming off of them.
Different light sources and
and then the colorist has that choice of like, is that too repetitive?
Yeah.
Or should I change the lighting on all 16?
You got to change the lighting,
Yeah. And the thing that should be scary for you, right, is it's probably easier for the colorist to just cut and crop and
Yeah.
paste all that stuff out, right?
Unfortunately, the colorist can redraw your lines if you're. If
Wait, what? What are you
I'm
doing?
kidding. I'm kidding. Can.
Fix it. You see something messed up, fix it. That's fine with me.
There's no way, because there's a big gap in between, personality and error. Like what you would consider personality, this is, you're distorting reality on purpose.
Yeah. So that's I don't really have a topic for the second hour. Just been one of those weeks. I wrote down this one and said, this would be a good one. And I kept telling myself, what are we talking about the second hour? What are we talking about the second hour? What are we talking about? So I don't really have a topic, but that could be a good way to sort of, oh shoot, what did you just say, Roberta?
What did I say?
I don't know.
The difference between personality and, yeah, I mean,
so
as distorting reality, right?
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about art in comics, okay? And so y'all are familiar with the Scott McCloud's book, right?
With what?
Scott McCloud's Understanding Comics.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Pete, y'all read that at Kubert?
Somewhere.
What is it?
Scott McCloud's Understanding Comics.
No, I don't know that one.
You don't remember that one?
No, Scott McCloud. I don't know that book.
I recommend it, Pete. You should read it. I always tell my students it's the most unique textbook they'll ever have, because it's in the form of a graphic novel. But one of the things that McCloud talks about in here, it's talking about art and kind of on a spectrum, how you can have them. And I don't know this, you'll be able to see this, but it goes from like super realistic looks to very cartoony.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so I think maybe let's talk about super realistic looking artwork, more cartoony artwork. Do you want it? What does it serve as, or how does it serve the reader? What about the more dynamic artwork? It was kind of, we were talking about Marvel and DC as well. How does that, or what does that do for the reader? Any preferences for you guys as far as artwork goes? Art styles?
Yeah. So you can tell from my artwork, I go for more realistic.
Yeah.
I don't want it to be super realistic, so you'd almost think, oh, it's a photo, because these characters, they're meant to be exaggerated.
Right.
They're not just standing around. Everything's got to be dramatic or heroic, or they've got to be evil villains. You've got to be able to portray that in their body language. I know that's not real life.
Right.
So I go for a realistic but exaggerated. I wouldn't want to just draw photorealistic, because I think that's boring.
Then you might as well just take pictures, right?
Yeah. But so I don't do the cartoon. I had to do some sketch cards a couple of weeks ago for Warner Brothers.
Okay.
For a film they're releasing.
Cool.
I don't know how much I'm allowed to say.
Right.
But it's a film that's coming out, and it was the first film a long time ago, and now they brought out a second film. It rolls around a sport.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And it's got their famous characters in it.
Yeah.
And I had to. I didn't realise those were the set I was going to get. They just said, "Oh, Warner Brothers wants you to do this thing. Do you want to sign an NDA to say you'll do it, and then we'll send you the stuff?" And I was like, "Oh, that sounds interesting."
Right. Yeah.
And they sent me. I was like, "This is not my style. I don't know what I'm doing."
Because it was cartoony.
Yeah, because it's.
Yeah. Now, did you know who Michael Jordan was before that?
They're cartoon characters, so I can't just draw a generic rabbit.
Right.
So
it
I
has
just
to
found
look like
myself
that rabbit.
Googling these characters, and then
He needed to be a specific duck.
Yes, exactly. And actually, I found it quite easy.
Really?
Only because I was sort of just copying
I gotcha.
stills from the cartoons. I couldn't come up with that. I can't replicate it. I wouldn't want to do a whole thing like that. But yeah, I could only do it because I was looking at, and it has to look like that. If it doesn't look like that, it's not those characters.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
yeah. I don't think I'd have fun if I had to do a book, because I just find myself going, all right, what does he look like when he's facing this way? What does he look like when he's facing this way? And that's all I can do.
You mentioned that kind of thing. It's sometimes those cartoony characters, the characters that aren't based off of real people are not like Superman and them are real people, but you know what I mean, a person.
Right.
When you get these particular ducks or mice or whatever, you start drawing them. You can draw them straight on, and then all of a sudden they say, draw them from the a 3/4 facing that way, and you go, their head doesn't work.
No, it doesn't go that way.
That's a problem I have with my Zomboid character. I can draw him like this. I can draw him like this. You can't draw him like this. His head does not work in this way. I've got a big. I hired somebody to make a big styrofoam statue of him that I used to take to the shows and stuff. And the guy's like, you can't draw I can't make this into a 3D figure. And I'm like, just fake it out. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. But that's at school. So I'm teaching up to the age of 11, I guess. Yeah, up to 11. And they read comics, but they don't read like American Marvel, DC superhero. They read the Beano, and I don't know if you know the Beano and the Dandy, and they've been running for decades over here. And Banana Man, and they are cartoonies for kids.
Cartoon comics.
Yeah, and they love them because they're funny. They're not fighting. They're not doing anything. They're just jokes. They're just doing silly things and having a joke and making the characters laugh. And they love cartoons like that. But give them they can look at my stuff and go, "Oh wow, that's amazing." But it doesn't inspire them to want to draw like that. They go and copy the cartoons they're reading. They go and try and draw those little circle heads with the big eyes and
with big dots.
And like
just a little grin.
So do they ever say that looks amazing? Can you draw Beano?
That's amazing. Can you draw me? No. I can't sit in the classroom drawing kids. That won't go down well. But yeah, and things like what was like Captain Underpants? Right? I've no idea what that is. But it's made millions and millions at the films, and the kids love that stuff because it's funny.
Yep.
And I don't know if it would be as funny if Captain Underpants looked like a real boy.
Right. Yeah.
So, if the cartoony style, and even what we're doing Bear, right, as a Kickstarter.
Yep.
And I've not read it, but it looks great. It looks fun. I don't know if it would be fun if it was me drawing a real bear. I don't know. Because I would draw a realistic looking bear, and that's what I like to do. I don't think it would be the same book.
Yeah.
Well, I think there's children's stories, like storybooks. It would look more in that fashion, but it would feel like a comic.
Well, what about something like Bone? Have y'all all read Bone?
Yeah, I love Bone.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I love Bone. Yeah.
I don't know what they are. What are they?
I don't
Doesn't
know.
matter.
They're bones.
little cartoony little blob of Play-Doh is what they are.
I don't know what they are either.
Yep.
So it works
I'm glad
style.
you said it instead of me, because I don't know what they are either.
It works perfectly for that style.
Yeah.
If you told me they were a bone, I would probably draw you a skeleton.
Right. Yeah. Because they're not people, because there are human characters in the grandma and I forget the girl's name now. Is it Rose?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So there are human characters in there, but I don't know what the heck they are either.
The Bone's funny, right? It's fun.
Oh yeah, it is fun. It's funny.
I think that maybe that style leans itself very well into that comedy Did Marvel? Are there any comedy comics like Marvel DC style? Are there any? Did they do any?
Well, yeah, there was Gru,
But
which
again,
was
that was a cartoony style, wasn't it?
it was cartoony. Oh, so you're
That was
with a
great.
realistic style. So I would say there might be, and I'm not going to die on this hill. There might be an argument that Spider-Man
He's comedic. Yes, he
is
can be fun.
comedic.
Yeah. I think all comics should have some fun in them, and some sort of go, oh, that's quite funny.
I agree.
But it wouldn't. Oh, you don't say they're out and out. They're not comic. If you adapt it to a film, it's not a comedy. It's fun and funny.
Right.
It's not a comedy. I don't know.
I can't think of a realistically or a comic drawn in a realistic style.
I guess
that's a comedy.
What was the Justice League? Justice League International.
Oh, Justice League International. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. With Kevin Maguire.
I don't know if you call it a comedy, but it was funny. Kevin Maguire, yeah, he had the facial expression, so it worked really well.
With who was the real jerk of a Green Lantern? Guy Gardner.
Guy Gardner, yeah. I remember picking up a few of those and thinking that's very funny because the facial expressions really portrayed the emotion and what they were actually thinking.
That was a funny one. I had a Marvel one on the tip of my tongue too.
But the ones that are cartoony in style, I get the feeling almost all of them are funny.
Yeah,
they're meant to be funny, meant to make you laugh.
Yeah.
So maybe that's a style thing.
That's interesting.
You can do that crazy stuff with the eyes popping out, and you can
Tex
drop
Avery.
anvils on them from great heights,
right.
and they just around.
Now, are you a fan of Tex Avery?
What's the film with Bob Hoskins? Who Shot Roger Rabbit?
Oh yeah,
Have you seen that?
Oh yeah.
That's exactly the point. You can do these ridiculous things to the cartoons. They just keep bouncing back.
Right. Yeah.
You couldn't do it to the human, though. But yeah.
No,
basically, I enjoy the style, but it's not what I can do.
Right. Yeah. Well, you draw it because they sent you
I want to draw Spider-Man, Batman, and so unless you're drawing Spider-Ham, it's not going to work.
Right. Yeah. So do you think that that's kind of what the style? So what about a style something like who's the guy's name? I always thought his artwork was really really flat. Keith Giffen. Do you remember like a Keith Giffen? What was that book that he did that I just couldn't stand, but people liked it? You ever have one of those? There's a comic book that several of your friends like, oh, this is great, and you look at it and like, what the heck? Okay, that might be a good one. What do you think of, while I'm trying to look this up? What's a good overrated comic? Do you think?
I don't. I hope my buddy Barry's not watching this, but the Cerebus books, I just never could get into those.
No
Cerebus
way.
books. I can't stand those books.
What?
I know about those.
Well, I mean, I like them.
Why don't you? So what don't you like about them?
I don't know. I couldn't tell you.
How many of them have you read?
All 360. No, I didn't read. I just handpicked few from here and there.
Yeah,
and it's just something that didn't.
So he gets really wonky at the end of the run, but he's got like the first probably 75. They're actually really good.
I don't think I've actually read those. They was more towards in the hundreds that I started. I read a little bit.
Yeah. I have the phone books, and they're best read as chunks instead of individual issues. I tried to buy some of the individual issues, and I just they're best read in chunks because he tells kind of big stories. Yeah, and so you kind of need to read it in 20. I mean, they're not all great. Some of them you start reading and you're just like, get on with it, right? And you start flipping pages. But yeah, overall they're generally pretty good. I'm trying to find a
Maybe it was just maybe it was just me not wanting to like them or something. I have no
that's
idea.
possible.
Yeah,
You just want to be contrarian with him, right?
maybe so. Maybe so.
Was it Heckler? It might have been Heckler. Was that the one he did? It was just so doggone flat. You know what? I was going to actually. Did y'all have something to say? Because I have. Go ahead. No.
Oh, let's see. I was going to say you're not talking about his Lobo books and stuff. Keith Giffen, right?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out. I think it was Ragman.
Ragman.
Yeah, that I picked up and people were really liking, and I was looking at it and I'm just going, that's just no. But I can't really find any artwork from it. Because he had this.
I've got those. I remember getting those.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, I love them too.
No. I couldn't tell you what they were about. I remember getting those or having some of those. Yeah, I'm looking at some of the covers now.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah. So I was trying to ask that get you kind of thinking on that line. Is that I'm trying to think of another artist. Okay. What about somebody like shoot. Used to always tease he dropped acid with Moon Knight.
What?
Sienkiewicz, Bill Sienkiewicz.
Oh.
How how it's all. I mean, it's just very. It's not straightforward art. There's very. I don't know. I don't know how to. It's very expressionist. Maybe that's a word. What about something like that?
I think he did a book recently where he inked someone. I think it was a DC Black Label book. I think it might be Rorschach.
Ah.
But I didn't. I know he's a fantastic inker, and he's got a style that you see it and you know it's his straight away.
Right.
So he picks up anything to hand and just goes at it and knows what he's doing. And but it just didn't seem to blend very well with the pencils.
Yeah.
So yeah. But
yeah,
some of this stuff. He's obviously there's iconic images of his.
Right.
There's a Superman, very simple, almost like a just triangular cape.
Yeah.
Somewhere, but.
So I think it's very fair to say, before we talk too much, I think it's very, very fair to say that there can be someone who's super talented, but you just don't like their work, right?
Yeah, of course.
And you can say, I get this person is super talented, but it doesn't seem to me,
not everyone's going to like. I'm sure there are people out there who don't like John Buscema. I think, oh no, he's it's hard to believe, but I'm sure there's someone out there who doesn't like it.
It is hard to believe,
and there'll be someone out there who thinks Todd McFarlane's the greatest artist in all the world, and there'll be people out there who think, okay, he did well. He's done very well.
He's done very well for himself.
But his early stuff, I look at it and think, wow, he's got a job. He's got a job. Done very well out of it.
Yeah.
He doesn't draw
Ambush
anymore.
Bug. That's right. Jackson Rennick says Ambush Bug.
No Reddit.
Yep. Yeah. So hey, Jackson, good to see you. Oven, good to see you too. Haven't seen you in a while, man. Glad you came by. Jackson, you guys, we're gonna get Jackson on some of our streams here. Jackson, obviously, goes back a long time with Silverline. Jackson did the second. Jackson, you're gonna have to help me out here. Jackson did the Marauder in the late 90s, which was written by Sid Williams, 4-issue miniseries. He did 4-issue miniseries Silver Storm with me. And he also penciled White Devil, which Chuck Bordell, by the way, Jackson, I have a package from Chuck Bordell. Right here it is. I can flip through it. Look at all these pages.
Show us real quick. Look, that's great. That's cool. Keep going. Really cool.
All these pages, Jackson, are now completely. I can't hold them all with one hand. Are now completely inked.
Awesome.
So this is and I'm not sure why Chuck sent me these two pictures, these two images. They're not White Devil, but all of White Devil is now inked. The entire 4-issue miniseries is now inked. And Phil Leon, if you're listening to this, that means the pressure is on, dude, because you gotta get to coloring. Phil is pretty close to finishing coloring the first issue. So, but we now have about 100 pages of White Devil that is penciled and inked, and and I think all of it, but a few pages is lettered. So, so that's Jackson, and Jackson's also doing. Well, I can't really talk about the other things he's doing because those are still kind of secret. Yeah, but I'm hopefully getting the rust knocked off of Jackson's hands and wrist and brain, and get him back to doing stuff. That's my personal goal, and since he's listening, he actually knows what my goal is now. Because I'd love to see Jackson doing some more stuff with us if he's up to it. So yeah, good to see you here, Jackson. Let's see. Steven says, on the cover message. I'll have to. I'll respond to you privately on that, sir. I did get it and looked at it really quickly, but if you heard the early part of the stream, it's just been one of those weeks. Batmite and Spider-Ham would be a great crossover, says Jackson. Yeah, I guess so. So what about so Pete? One of the things you said earlier, and we've got Roberto on here, so this is going to be good. So one of the things you said earlier is you talked about, and this is not an exact quote, but you said something about they had, when you were talking about the comic books that you liked, they had exciting images with exciting characters and bright colors.
Yeah.
So,
because when I started reading them, it was all digital color already. Well, that's I get you guys know better actually. So in '96, so that's when digital colors started, right?
Yep. Yeah. Well, yeah.
The paper was very shiny and glossy. And, yeah.
So one of the things that Tommy and I frequently talk about, and not just me and Tommy, but me and several others. One of the biggest problems I have with a lot of modern comics, and this is what I so love about what Roberta has done with this book, is they're too dark. You pick them up and you look at it and they look like they're colored, and then they splash mud all over them, or they they colored them and then added like a 20% black filter on it, and they just look too dark to me.
Yeah,
they do too much.
Well, a lot of people don't know the process of that it needs to be printed, and they're coloring on monitors that aren't calibrated properly, and that are way the monitor is cranked up way too bright, so their colors that they're thinking are just a normal dark, or it's just it's crazy.
When we went to school, I'd never done anything on a computer before. I'd never used a computer to do anything. And they started teaching us how to colour. And I used to colour this stuff, and on the screen I thought, well, yeah, that looks okay, And then you go and print it out, and it comes out, it's like, my God, it's so dark. Why? Yeah. It doesn't look anything like it does on screen. I can't understand why.
Yeah.
And they start explaining to you, well, if your K gets above 40, then it starts competing with your ink lines, so then your ink lines disappear under the colour. And you've got to keep whatever your colour you set, you've got to keep it below 40, otherwise it just sort of and then you get over rendering and over saturation and
wow.
Yeah, when your colors get over like 80%, you might as well say that's 100, and it's too. Yeah, and if they get less than 20, you might as well say that's white. So you got to keep it, make it lighter.
You got to go in with an eyedropper and make sure that it's still in shape. And I have a lot of colors that I thought I picked a really nice bright color, and then I look at the numbers. I'm like, how'd that change? There's 20% black in that. That's not what I thought I picked.
You can multiply layers, can't you? The multiply.
And you
do lots of different things on the computer, which makes it look darker, but technically isn't above 40. It's on a multiply layer or something else. So. Yeah,
I think what Tommy says the most important is that it looks okay on the monitor.
Yeah, because your monitor is turned up too bright.
It's great if you're just doing digital.
On the web or whatever. Yeah, if it looks, if that red looks good on your screen on there, it'll look good on somebody else's screen more than likely.
You can do the flashing logos then.
Can't
do that. Can't do that when it's printed.
Yeah.
Well, I stand by you guys know the color picker when you have a kind of a hue line and a saturation line. You know what I'm talking about? No.
Not me. I don't.
A little bit, but not. I'm not a great.
You can pick colors that don't go terribly deep into the actual black.
Right.
Just by complementary mixing. Kind of painterly mixing. So you can, if you don't need to use the black at all, you can go without it for quite a while.
Yeah, just turn it on. Yeah. We kind of tell people on the Kablam side when they do the color picker thing, if they're doing the color picker and their mode is in CMYK, and you add those numbers together, if they're above 300, you add all four of the numbers together, it's going to be pretty dark. You're getting into some dark colors, so be aware of that. And then they'll still do it, and then it'll print dark, and they'll be mad at us. And
why'd you print my comics so dark?
We told you it was going to be dark, and we sent you a note telling you it was going to be dark, and you said print it anyway, and it was dark.
Yeah. Well, do you see this green that I picked in the background?
Uh-huh.
Do you notice a difference in the shade? Not much, right? Just a little bit.
Right.
Huge difference in the numbers.
Really?
One is 20% black in it. Yeah, and I could get it closer if I wanted to, but
yeah.
There.
Oh, yeah.
So
yeah.
That is a huge difference. And all it is just a little bit darker. Just a little bit darker than it was than the highlight color I was going to pick. Yeah. So it's just a huge difference when it prints that 20%. Black will muddy up the entire thing and mix with the black line art. And it's just
we use that word 2 or 3 times a day. Things turn into mud if you get to
Well, and I think that's one of I think it's funny because I think computer coloring is one of the coolest advancements that comics have been able to make. Well, a lot of the digital stuff now, right? But computer coloring is certainly one of the things that that really revolutionized comics, in the 90s. And then it just, it turns out that it got so sad because everything was just so deadgum dark, and it's like I would, if you give me the option between some of these really darkly colored books and a 1980s almost flat color, I prefer the flat colors because they're brighter. I can see the lines better. I don't like it when the coloring is so dark I can't see the lines. And that may be because I'm a fan of line artwork. I'm not a huge fan of painted stuff. Yes, I agree. Alex Ross is a super talented painter. I absolutely agree with that. But I would much rather see a line art with colors on it than a painted page. That's
Well, I
just my.
figure if the inking process put down lines and you're covering it up, that's kind of, it's just not helping the overall art.
Yeah.
Man, speaking of inks, I should have inked that hair a little better on that. Sorry, Pete. I'll do better next time, bud.
Sorry, I thought I was just seeing
It's
it.
fine. It looks fine.
But yeah,
What you're talking about.
Looks like a little thick. It looked like I went a little thick there on those. I'll fix it. Next time. Next time better. Do a better job next time.
sure.
I won't zoom in so far as when I'm going. Or when I'm inking.
I can see that could be a problem with digital. For all of the art tasks, is that one of the things when you're holding a piece of paper, you can only get your eyeballs so close to the paper if you're trying to see something,
Yeah.
and so you kind of have but on digital you can zoom that way in, and so I can see that as being a potentially dangerous.
I don't go more than 100%. So basically, my screen size is as if my paper was literally there. Because otherwise, you're zooming in so far, you're never going to see that on our page anyway.
You're drawing lines; it'll never be there.
Yeah.
So do you have it set so that it doesn't go, or just something you have to consciously?
In Clip Studio, there's a button I can press, and it just takes me straight to 100%.
Oh, cool.
And I can zoom further in. I can go all the way to 3,200%.
Good grief!
But I think if you're drawing at that size, you got problems.
That doesn't work.
Yeah.
No, yeah, it's 100%. And if I did anything like all the way inks digital, because that's the same reason. Get any closer than that, then you're inking stuff that's just going to appear like a blob on the screen on the page anyway. So
yeah, I can.
And you can get carried away. You can get really absorbed in the details of stuff, and I do sometimes. And then I'm like, what a waste of time, wasn't it?
Yeah, just talk to Tommy. He'll tell you, line screen. It's only going to be an inch tall. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Waste of time. I just spent half an hour trying to draw that, and it's not even going to come out on the page.
No one's ever going to even see it.
Nobody's going to see it. Yeah, yeah. You get some of the inking jobs that I get that want it done at 300 or 600 dots an inch, and and that you can get carried away zooming in so far because there's so much more digital space. You know what I'm saying? Because you can zoom in and you start drawing stuff, and you're like, wait a minute, let me pull this down to normal size, and you go, that was microscopic. Why am I inking something? It's the 300 dots an inch is a really good print size. So yeah, you can't get too far in before it starts getting real stair steppy, and you realize I have zoomed in to 800 percent. I need to pull out. What am I doing? Yeah. Back up.
Jackson says, I've gone up to 500% on one or two things just to do 1 to 2 pixel lines.
Yeah, I know. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's hard not to, though.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that it would be hard not to do that. Because you just want to get, as you're doing it, I would think you just want to get a little bit closer, just to make sure you're getting it all right.
Because you think, oh, it's all going to look perfect on the page. It comes out on the page as a blob.
Yeah.
Then you might go, that's not very, because it gets condensed. It shrinks down.
Well, that was the whole thing about doing the pages at the 11 by.
I draw 11 by 17.
11 by 17. Yeah, and you're drawing them that big, and it shrinks down. That makes everything tighten up and all that kind of stuff. But now we're all doing it digitally, so it's a little different, but I think we're all doing good. This book is all to from every bit of it, from the writing, maybe to the penciling and the coloring and inking and stuff. This book is going to be fabulous. People are going to love this book.
Yeah. I'm excited about it, and as I was replacing on that PDF I've been sending out to you guys every now and then, I went to replace the last couple inked pages. Yeah, updating the file. I've replaced the last couple of inked pages, and just looking through it again because it's most of the pages are in color there, and then the last couple of them are in inks. Just looking through it again, going, man, this book just looks so good. And so I'm super stoked about that, and I think folks are going to be really excited.
I'm super excited about it. I'm proud of the work.
It looks good, and it's a fun story. Although when Pete read issue 2, he said it took a dark turn.
It took a very dark turn. Issue 2 gets very dark.
They all die about page 10.
They all
right?
die.
Yeah. All dead. New characters. The second half of issue 2, new characters.
Yeah, Silverline team up, Champion, and somebody else, or somebody else in Miss Fury. Yeah.
They're all dead.
That's funny.
Yeah. So
kids walk by, pick up their mask, they put them on. They're the new champion, Mister.
Yeah.
It becomes Roland kills the Silverline universe.
Yeah, just keep it fresh.
That's right.
They said that coming, did they? They're all dead.
Yeah. That's the whole point. We don't want them to see it coming, right? All right. I guess it's getting that time to kind of wind down. I got about 10 till. Jackson says Silverline team up. That's right. And I noticed that, and I'm looking at the have the Twitter feed open here, and I noticed the image has Miss Fury in costume jumping out. And I'm looking at the logo up there, and I'm like, we need an ampersand in between Champion and Miss Fury, don't we?
Yes.
Yeah, we need an ampersand there to So, and the Fury actually, and I'm 90% sure I lined those up, but it looks higher than Champion, so I got to get back in there and look at that logo. But
now's the time.
Yeah, now's the time to do it for it.
We got several weeks before it goes to press, so we can get it all fixed.
So,
I've not seen the cover with the logo on top.
Neither have I. I'd be happy to see it. No, he's hiding it.
No one has.
So
whether this is the right thing to do or not, usually what I try to do in all of our image, the publicity that we do, announcing that the Kickstarter's coming. What I try to do is on the 3 days before, reveal one of the covers. No, I'm sorry. 2 days before one of the covers, 1 day before the other cover, and then the day of Kickstarter exclusive cover. That they're we kind of lead up to the reveal of the covers. But there's no reason I can't show you guys.
Because we blab, is that what you're saying?
Why did I not send it to you? I sent you the book already, right? So you had it all to read. So you saw the lettered copy, right?
The thing is, I get these stuff.
I have only seen the 1 through 10. I haven't seen
I'll send you an update.
Further than that.
Tonight, I'll send you an update of the lettered version.
Yeah,
in fact, I might.
You send me this stuff. You send me this stuff through. I'm like, I've got to share this straight away. I've got to show everyone how good this is. I won't be happy if I start sharing. Within 2 minutes of receiving it, it's over every social media platform.
Look at it. It looks great. Look
how good this looks.
This is so cool.
Yeah, I'll what I'll try to do is actually I started on it today. I was going to go ahead and, since I have all the inks now, I was going to go ahead and prep the retro version and just go ahead and work on it. Probably not finish it, but work on it, and then I can send you that. But then you don't get to see the colors, so no.
The colors. Cool.
I'll keep sending you my mixed version here, that my update. So
I want to see. I want to see it with the colors.
Yeah.
I'm partial, but
of course you are. I'll send that tonight. There's those last few pages. They ended up, I think, really, really good too. So yeah, the whole thing looks good. All right, so
except for that hair, I got to go fix that hair every time.
No fixing of the hair.
No fixing the hair. I like that.
You've already done it. You guys don't run away, because I need to talk about some files from Berta, and I got some pages here just to make sure what we're doing with them. All right, so a big shout out to our sponsors, History Camp. Thank you so very much for being a sponsor for us. Hopefully, you were really, really happy with Steam Patriots and Divinity 2. Shout out to Daytona Beach Comic Con, which is only 2 months away now. We're getting really. I didn't realize we were that close until somebody said, that's only like 2 months. I'm like, no, it is. It's only 2 months away. So Daytona Beach Comic Con, make your plans now. Show up there. Get yourself one of the Silverline signature books that I don't have. Wait a minute, I may have one in my box right here. Get yourself one of those Silverline signature books with this next Kickstarter. And you can hunt down all of our signatures. And no, I don't have one. I'll have one the next time we do it. And you can get yourself signatures. Now, you're going to have to travel to England to get Pete's. Or we're going to have to convince Pete to come over here and do a show sometime. In which you just have to come to that show and hunt him down. Who knows?
I'm lining up shows for, as we're going to be able to travel soon. For the end, maybe the end of the year, but cool. Next year I'll be trying to do some shows. Yeah. Cool.
Sweet. I may see if I can get the Daytona Beach Comic Con date for you for next year.
Yes, it'd be great if they could also pay for my flights, hotel, meals.
Yeah. And maybe you can make a vacation out of it.
That's what the idea. Yeah.
So thank you to Daytona Beach Comic Con. We appreciate you and all you do for us, for Silverline, and for supporting not just Silverline, but independent comics and certainly comic books in our area. Shout out again to Carlos, and I had it right on the tip of my tongue right here. New Armor Media for working behind the scenes here. Being our producer. If you want a stream and you need a producer, you need to say, hey, look, he's so good. Reach out to Carlos at New Armor Media, and he'll hook you up. He'll get you going so that you too can join the masses that are streaming on all the services these days. You don't even have to know how to do anything but show up and get your camera and your microphone working. Carlos can do all of the rest of it for you. So thank you, Carlos, for that. Don't forget, we have a Tuesday show. And I really like I think I like the name that they've been going at. They've kind of decided to use. Let me make sure that I get it right here. Go away, notifications.
3 dudes on Tuesday?
No. I think it's called that Silverline Show on Tuesday. That Silverline Show on Tuesday with the host Tim TK, joined by Quentin and Aaron, and hopefully we get maybe Jackson. Maybe Jackson can join those guys. That's kind of out in his time zone. Some Jackson and looking at maybe getting Chuck Burdell on there, and Alex Gallimore is looking to possibly return to some streams, which we really, really hope that we can get Alex to rejoin us. We miss Alex on the stream. That's Tuesday, and then Wednesday Wham will be back on Wednesday night. I'm sorry, Tuesday is at Eastern time. They start at 11 p.m. and end at 1 a.m. Eastern time. So for all of you Pacific Coasters, I think that's 8 to 10 your time. And then Wednesday Wham will be back here at 8 p.m. on Wednesday. So join the group. What else? Kickstarters. I updated at the beginning for the last one. If I need here's my list of people who I need your address.
Here, hold it up. Everybody can see who they are.
I need your addresses so that I can email you, so that I can mail you your books. And I'm going to send another round of emails out tonight that says, hey, I still don't have your postal address. So I do have on this list, I do have 2 of those I've already gotten. So, and get ready for the Kickstarter this Thursday, which will feature Silverline Team Up, featuring Champion and Miss Fury, written by me, penciled by Pete, inked by Tommy, and colored by Roberta. You guys are going to love this. You've seen it happen, and you're going to love it. It's going to be everything that you want in a comic book: superhero action, dynamic stuff, just everything. Fire engines, fire,
You got fire engine in there.
bad guys, everything you want in a comic book. And also that will be a flip book for the Kickstarter edition. That will be a flip book with Bear #1 with art by Haley Martin, who you have also seen stream her art on Wednesdays. And that book is also completely done. So until then, no. Pete, where can people find you on the interwebs?
On the interweb, they can find me on the Google by typing in Peter Clinton art, and that will take you to everywhere that I am. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn. I think that's it, actually. Oh, on my website, of course.
Nice. Tommy, what about you? Where can folks find you on the interwebs?
Just go and like Mr. Pete said, go to Google, type in Thomas Florimonte Jr. Florimonte. Always have to spell it because nobody gets it right. But you can go to infernostudios.com, or you can check me out on mostly on Facebook. But you can find me just mostly over at Kablam, printing people's comics all day long. So that's where you wanted to find me. That's where I usually am.
Yeah, you do a great job there too. Roby, what about you? Where can folks find you on the interwebs?
And look up Roby Conroy, ROBI, for Instagram and for Facebook, and you can find that when I'm up to.
All right, and I'm Roland Man. You can find me on the Facebooks and the Twitters and the other places like that under Roland Man. You can also find me mostly hanging out on the Silverline pages. And until then, remember always to
make
mine
Silverline.
All right, good night, everybody.